Well, hi there. Welcome to the Obi Thorin Alliance. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Luke, and we're the YouTube channel that offers non-biased opinions that from two different perspectives. We got that as someone on the autism spectrum, someone who's not. As always, if you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We release multiple videos per week. And today, what are we going to be doing in the video?
We'll be doing the current structure of Marvel Phase 4, our thoughts about it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about where the direction of where it's going, what we think about the TV shows, what we think about the movies, maybe give some suggestions of what we do differently. So if you're interested, stick around and see what we have to say. So getting into it, Jacob, let's go to the shows. The shows are what I reckon this year's been probably pushed by. We've had a lot of new releases, especially because of Disney Plus coming to its own. What are you thinking so far about the shows?
I think the shows have been okay, but they're introducing new characters, so they feel like the direction is not going anywhere. But I think the reason why they're doing it is to introduce new superheroes so they can see if people like it and see if they become bigger and join the bigger picture. So I think that's why they're not doing a different show. They're doing, a B-grade show, if that makes sense.
So what we've had Moon Knight this year. We're in the midst of She-Hulk, Miss Marvel.
And that's it.
Yeah, so... And last year we had a really good run of shows.
Two amazing shows.
Yeah, so what we had Loki. Was WandaVision last year or the year before?
Last year.
So we had WandaVision. We had some really standout shows last year which helped promote what's going on in the movies. So this year we're thinking they're a bit B grade, the shows. They haven't really added that much to the movies. Miss Marvel maybe a tiny bit, setting up the Marvel movie. But not as much. So why do you think the MCU is doing that? Why do you think they've kind of ducked down on their shows? You mentioned that maybe they're just trying to soft introduce some characters, see if there's some traction, then give them a movie if they do.
I think so.
Yeah. I think similar, and I also think they're trying to make money. The MCU's about making money. They've got this product of Disney Plus, so they're bringing out content, and I guess they're saying, if you like it, watch it. If you don't, it doesn't matter because they're kind of B-list characters, but we will chuck in little Easter eggs and little hidden gems that will invite you to watch the movies, but they're not overly necessary. Where I think last year's TV shows, if you didn't watch them, the movies kind of made no sense.
Yeah.
You had to watch them. But now we're kind of given the option. From what I've seen so far, do you think it was important to have watched Moon Knight? Does that add anything to the MCU?
No, it's kind of like how Joker is with the DCU. Excellent movie, but if you didn't watch Joker, it wouldn't matter for the extended universe.
Yeah, so do you think that we will see Moon Knight feature in anything more? Do you think we're getting another season? Do you think he's going to be in a movie? Or that was kind of it? They've given us the taste to see what people think.
If they might do a season 2, but I don't know if he's that interesting to be with other superheroes, or I think he's kind of better by himself, to be honest. What do you think?
Honestly, I thought the first season was pretty disappointing.
It was potential.
It was okay to watch, but I don't think we need any more Moon Knight. I don't really understand what he can offer. Is he that powerful? Is he good? Is he bad? It's just doesn't add anything for me. I don't see the need. If you're a fan of the comic books, you may have loved the show because you're going, awesome, I wanted to see this come to life. But if you're not a previous fan, it doesn't add much. And it's okay. I don't think we need to see any more of him. I don't see him in any team-up movies in the future, unless that's something that happens in the comic book, so they might mimic, but I'm cool with that. What do you think about Miss Marvel?
Besides the last cameo scene and us getting introduced to new names of different factions, it wasn't really that interesting, but I can see for other people in different cultures it might be, but personally I wouldn't have watched it if I wasn't already a Marvel fan.
Yeah, it wasn't relatable to us.
No.
It'd be unfair to say it's not relatable to the majority, because who knows, maybe the majority of Marvel fans could actually be from Asian or Indian countries, Pakistani, that it does take up a large population of the earth, so that it's clearly tailored towards there, and it's probably very popular there. The show was quite visually cool at points. It had a cool artistic flavour and style, but as you said, it wasn't quite tailored for us. I respect it. I watched it. I don't think it was amazing. It was subpar, but it wasn't made for us. But it did set up a little bit for the Marvels movie and any future content with Captain Marvel. So, if you could watch every episode only to find out that at the end, then do you deem that worthy? I'm not sure. What other shows? So we're in the midst of She-Hulk. What do you think of that so far, and what's that doing for the MCU?
It's a fun show, but it doesn't really have any stakes involved. But you could argue sometimes it's good just watching a character study with how she interacts with superpowers. So it's your mindset going into the show, I think.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's lighthearted. I think it's fun. I was listening to a podcast the other day that has nothing to do with the MCU, but they were talking about, one of them had seen a clip online of She-Hulk when she's twerking with Megan Thee Stallion in an end credit scene. And they were like, oh, what's going on here? What's the point of this? And they were kind of pulling apart the show and saying, oh, this makes no sense. Was she a lawyer? Like, how do you go to a job interview as a lawyer when you're a Hulk? And they're like, oh, how did she become a Hulk? Did she, did she have sex with Bruce Banner? And they'd never seen the show, so they didn't get it. And it was like, I guess it seems really weird from the outside, but when you actually watch it, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the way she became a Hulk, they made it simple. She's related to Bruce. She clearly wants to just be a lawyer, but she's stuck with this burden of being a Hulk. I think the show's developing well. I don't think she's a amazing character that's going to be impactful fighting-wise or helping out the MCU moving forward, but the show itself, I think, adds a lot of entertainment factor. I think out of the shows we've got that haven't been, major, like your Lokis or your WandaVision, you could clump, Falcon the Winter Soldier in there. It's the worst out of the three, in my opinion, but it still adds value because now we have a new Captain America and there's going to be a whole movie about it. So it added something big. But this, out of the light-hearted shows so far, has been the best. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a pretty simple concept and there's not really too many villains. It's just her life. I think it's a good move for them. It's added something for more fans to get involved with, and there's definitely a flavour of it towards, female equality and what it's like to be a female. I think that as well is going to draw a lot of female fans in particular.
Yeah,
so I think that's going well. Where do you see the rest of the MCU shows going? Like, what other shows we got coming out?
Secret Invasion.
How far away are we from Secret Invasion coming out?
Next year.
Okay, and that's going to set up for some movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of those pivotal, cornerstone shows, not a light-hearted money maker along the way. It seems like that's going to be something pretty big. Anything else coming out?
The Ironheart show.
Yeah, okay. So I think that might be one of those little I don't know if it'll be light-hearted, but I think it might be one of those ones that kind of just trickles along to keep the money machine moving. It probably won't add too much to the MCU overall. But do you like this direction where they're going between pivotal cornerstone shows that impact the movies and then these little drips and drabs, little ad shows? Like, do you find it's too much content or we need more? Or
I guess the problem is it makes you think, well, what's the direction with the new storyline going? What we know what it is, it's the multiverse and eventually fighting Kane, but actually getting there, it seems like at the moment there's no direction, and you could argue, well, you need to make every show consistently good content worth watching, but at the moment it's not like that.
Yeah, I'd like to see how because they obviously master plan each phase of the MCU. I'd like to see how they set it up. They've obviously got, here's our trajectory of movies, like these movies are going to happen in all phases until eventually they fight the next big boss. And then we've got the shows, and they go, well, a couple of these shows add on and drip in. But then I'm sure there's some where they're like, these are just to the side. These are like for a bit of fun. Like I wonder where the new Daredevil show is going to sit in, because you mentioned that it's going to be a reboot opposed to like a new origin opposed to a carry on from what we've already seen with the Netflix Daredevil.
Yeah.
Is that so that they can tie him into MCU movies, or is it going to be another like little standalone thing? Because we've seen Matt Murdock appear in She-Hulk, and we've seen him appear in Spider-Man. So they're trying to tie him in. So where are they going to go with that? But ultimately, as a fan, do you feel obligated to watch everything just in case it's going to lead on to the movies?
Part of me wishes I didn't have to, but I'm kind of at the point when I kind of have to, because I'm in the situation that
Well, they got you hooked. They got you invested now. It's hard to turn back. So kind of anything they bring out, we go, oh, we better watch it just in case it's important. And I don't know if that's a fair or something nice of Marvel to do to us, but you could look at it, well, at least we're getting content. There's always something new to watch. If we weren't so spoiled for choice, we'd probably be loving it, because we're like, oh, cool, something finally we can watch. But we've got all these streaming services and new stuff constantly coming out that it feels like a chore at times.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention about the shows, or should we move on to the movies?
I do think next year's going to be a better year. We do have Secret Invasion and the Daredevil Born Again, so I think there's definitely better shows on the horizon. But this year I don't think has been that good when it comes to shows.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. I enjoy them for what they are, but they haven't been epic. I think last year we got a few more epic shows. This year, not so much. So movies. So we've left the Thanos era, and we're moving into Kang.
Yeah, multiverse saga now.
Yeah, so he's been introduced through the Loki. We've seen the Multiverse of Madness movie with Doctor Strange, which shows a bit more of how the multiverse works. We've seen Spider-Man No Way Home, that's had a bit more, that's again involved the multiverse. And then we've seen it mentioned in pretty much every MCU thing since. So they're very much playing up this multiversal thing. Do you like this direction? Do you think it's cool, or is it confusing?
Oh, I think it's a cool direction, but I do feel like it's more confusing than the Infinity Stone saga.
I'm with you on that. I enjoy it, but it's hard to wrap my head around. Especially when we added the Eternals. I think the Eternals really confused him with that is there a set of Eternals in every single multiverse? And they talk about having these celestial gods, and planets are created just to fuel the celestial gods, and then they implode. And it's like, where do they sit? Does Kang sit over the top of them and he sees these things happen? Does he know they're going to happen and he doesn't intervene because that's not his role? Or are they unique? Is this person that's created the celestial beings and the Eternals, are they even more powerful than Kang? I just don't know where it all sits. It gets confusing. I can before that I could wrap my head around, there's a different version of Spider-Man, a different version of Loki, and different multiverses, and we've seen cartoon multiverses, we've seen crocodile/alligator multiverses through Loki. I can wrap my head around that, but the celestial beings, the gods and Eternals kind of confuse it all for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And do you think it makes the whole Thanos saga seem unimportant? The fact that, in Loki, they open a drawer and there's just heaps of Infinity Stones. There's nothing special?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's why a lot of people have given up, because in their minds the storyline was done, but now they kind of made fun of the Infinity Stone saga.
Yeah, and I guess it's no different than other things in life. We look at records in sport, and at the time we thought, wow, no one's ever going to beat that. And then we fast forward 50 years and we go, oh, I can't believe people are so slow. Look how fast people are running and swimming now and jumping. And so maybe we have to have that approach, that at the time we thought that was the biggest problem on our hands, but now we realise there's something bigger. But then the thing that I question is, if the Avengers are going to be the ones that take on Kang, how come they had to work so hard to beat Thanos, and if Thanos is just a nothing, just a joke in comparison, how could they possibly get up the ante enough to be able to compete at someone that just thinks Thanos is a joke? Like, it seems unrealistic. Like, they would have had to have beaten Thanos with ease for it to be possible for them to take on the next boss. So that becomes hard to wrap my head around. So what movies have we had this year from the MCU?
We have had Doctor Strange, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Black Panthers coming out.
You think they're the ones we've seen so far have added something important to the MCU?
Yes.
Do you like Thor, Love and Thunder with the additive of the gods in that? And are those gods, are they unique to each multiverse? Or are they across multiverses? Like, how do we interpret this?
I don't know.
Because, I guess we're under the belief that there's multiple Thors because there's multiple Thanoses. So then, there's multiple Lokis. We witnessed that, and if they're related, then I suppose. But Loki's not really a god, is he? He's adopted. I don't know because we saw Zeus, and like, is that the only Zeus, or there's multiple Zeuses? Like, where does it draw the line at? Black Panther, we've seen the trailer for that.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, Black Panther for Wakanda Forever, I think, will probably be the best MCU movie of this year.
Do you think it's designed to add something to the battle with Kang, or it's more of a standalone, homage to kind of Chadwick Boseman and the Black Panther legacy?
Probably more the character, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. It looks good from what I've seen. At a larger scale, I don't know, Black Panther could actually really have competed or helped too much moving forward in the MCU, and he no longer exists, so I guess this is kind of a tying of loose ends and maybe an introductory of some future characters in this movie.
Yeah.
What else we got coming out? Any other movie? It's just Black Panther. That's the only new movie this year.
Yep.
What do we know is coming next, though, in the next few years? We've seen an announcement of the next phase.
Captain America 4, the Thunderbolts. Quite a lot.
Any of those really capture your attention that you're excited about?
Probably. Probably Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And do we assume that's going to be them off doing their own thing whilst Thor was in Thor Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
What do you think in, I think it's the second episode or third episode of She-Hulk, we see that Hulk's taken off and he's on a ship, and I think he said he's going to help Nick Fury. What do you think that's tying into? Where's he going?
I think he's leveling up, or he's becoming a different version of Hulk.
And you think he will... Where do you think they'll get exposed? In maybe the Marvels movie, or...
I don't know what project he'll be in next, but eventually he'll get his own movie.
Yeah. I was just leaning towards that because of the space element, and like Captain Marvel's very much space-based. And then... Yeah, the Thunderbolts, you know much about that?
They're basically a villain's version of the Avengers.
Okay. Do you think it's a good move with Marvel to be... We haven't really seen what Kang can do yet, but they've already told us that there's the next phase, what's going to happen, and we're already getting a show, Secret Invasion, that's leading on to the next phase. Do you think that's smart to be kind of mixing phases, or giving us a taste of the next phase whilst we haven't even really got a taste of the current phase? Do you think that's confusing, or it's a good thing to do?
I guess this it's a little bit more confusing because there's not really any direction. I think that's the main problem at the moment with the MCU, is that there's no direction of how we're actually going to get there.
Yeah, and you're kind of forced to watch it in a very particular order, because if if you start to watch Secret Invasion before you watch, let's say, Loki, for instance, you could be very confused about what's happening and not know which villain's which. So you're very selective. You got to be well read. You got to watched it all to really capture what's going on. And depends if you see that as a good thing that we're getting heaps of content, we're very immersed, or is it a bad thing that we're getting, you know, Marvel fatigue, or is Marvel just, you know, is just a cash cow that's continually bringing out content to make money after money after money.
So do you feel like there's any reasons why people aren't liking Phase 4 at the moment, or do you think there's some truth in it?
There's a bit of truth in it. As a loyal fan, I'm happy with whatever comes my way. But I think there's that fatigue. People are seeing too much. There's a lot of things going on. We've been so used to, you know, 3 or 4 movies a year to now 3 or 4, maybe even 6 movies that sometimes we've got, you know, show after show coming out. They all cross over, they intertwine. It's clever, but if you're not on top of it, it's confusing. So you're forced to be on top of it, otherwise you just get left behind. And I think a lot of people have just been left behind and they're not coming back.
Do you think the main problem as well in phase, the earlier phases, it was like an event to see the movies, but now it's not as excitable, it's more like, oh, here we go again?
Well, I think it's more you forget that these things are coming out because they're coming out so often. Like, I'll talk to you and you're like, oh, don't forget this comes out tomorrow and this movie's out next week, and where before we were counting down the days. Now it's so common and there's so many things going on that there's no build-up or excitement. It just feels like, oh, okay, it's another movie. Oh, when's the next one? Oh, yeah, that's, you know, a week later. It's like there's just something coming out constantly. So it's kind of taken away from that, you know, once a year, once every couple of months excitement to going, oh, like people, I don't even keep track anymore. I'm just wait to see the notification or someone tell me, oh, this comes out next week. And, yeah, cool. Okay, I'll go see it.
Do you think Disney Plus has any reason for why people aren't liking MCU at the moment?
It has an effect. I don't know if it's positive or negative. For me, I like it. You know, it's added more content. It's giving me a space where I can re-watch old content, especially the movies. But with that becomes more content to have to watch, more money. You've got to pay to watch it. You know, depends how you see it. What's your opinion of Disney Plus? What's it done for the MCU?
Oh, I feel like it gives a option of what shows they want to make, but I think the reason what we were told why they wanted to do Disney Plus is so they could make shows of characters that didn't get their movies from the original Avengers, and now we're kind of getting B-grade characters. And really, from the shows that we have gotten, we've really only got two like shows that were high quality, and the rest have been not so good. And there's definitely a structure problem of how they structure the shows. There's not enough episodes.
Yeah, I agree. They mix it around, don't they? You get some that have too many, some that don't have enough. They seem to struggling to get that right, but I guess that's our opinion. Other people might think otherwise. But we were talking about this the other day in the car, that I think every project that the Marvel works on and Disney Plus, they probably think they're all amazing, but it's up to interpretation which one's going to stick and people are going to love. I talked about, you know, something like people really like the character Wong. To me, he's okay, but people seem to think Wong's great. And I guess I don't know if they had that intention when they added him to the MCU, whether they thought he was, you know, going to be a fan favourite or just a nothing. But, you know, he's obviously stuck, and then they're adding him into more content. And they're going to, I guess they testing it out. They chuck out this character or make a show or a movie, and then they hope they're all going to be successful. But once they find that one has a bit of success, they're going to try and milk it. And that's why I think, like, would have Wong actually have been in She-Hulk? Do you need to be there?
Probably not, no.
I think it's just, you go, well, let's try and add him in as a cameo because people like Wong.
Yeah.
and so they're just kind of doing that. And I don't know. I'm not against it. I guess it's just the way they're going. So, we're a bit iffy about Captain Marvel, but the people that made it they might believe it's a masterpiece. So they bring out everything with the intention that they're going to have success. Wait to see what the numbers say, and then if it is a success, then they push it. Opposed to, I guess they have these clear. Well, it's unclear whether there's a clear plan or they're just winging it as they go. They go, well, this is popular. Let's push it in again. Let's add another season. Let's add another movie of it. Or is it, master planned well beyond that?
Do you feel like since Captain America and Iron Man aren't involved in the series, there's no leadership or character to get behind? Do you feel like we need like a Spider-Man or I feel like Black Panther was going to be the leader or the face of the MCU, and then the actor passed away, and I think they're trying to find someone else to take over from their passing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does definitely lack a leader. I guess the MCU for quite a while kind of had this: is Tony the leader? Is Captain America the leader? And then they kind of had the same goal in mind, but slightly different perceptions of how it was to be. Like, Tony wanted to help people at all costs, and Steve Rogers kind of wanted to do the right thing all the time. But they both wanted to help people. But yeah, there's not really that at the moment.
No.
But beyond that, I do like that the MCU's expanded. We've moved away from these staple characters, your Iron Man, your Captain America, your Thor, your Hulk, and your Black Widow. I like that they've moved and we're starting to get all these more exotic characters. But yeah, there's definitely not a clear leader. Out of the ones so far, who would you like to see as be the leader?
I think Spider-Man, but unfortunately his contract stuff, I think, makes it hard, but I think Spider-Man should.
You think Thor's got the ability?
I think he does, but his character just keeps swapping between,
Well, they've made him so funny, or trying to be funny, that it's hard to take him serious, so whether he could be a leader?
I think he could be. If it was the Thor Ragnarok version, yes, but...
Well, they might bring it back now that he's, been through a bit more tragedy again, and now he's, taken over as a father, so maybe we might get to see that, because he potentially could be the leader. He does claim he's the strongest Avenger, so maybe he could do it.
Yeah. So bottom line, where do you sit in what's wrong with the MCU now?
Too much content, or too much pointless content, making B-list shows, I think is hurting the brand. I think they should stick with, 1 or 2 shows a year, high quality, Loki, WandaVision kind of stuff. Maybe limit their movies to, big either, major origin stories or, team up movies. I think anything beyond that, I'm happy with, but it's going to take the brand. It's like if you said to someone, hey, you want to get into the MCU? And they go, okay, well, what do you got to do? Well, you got 35 movies to watch, and you've got, all these series and seasons to watch, and then you'll be good. You'll catch up. Like, no one's going to do that. It's very hard to get into it now. So I guess they've got to be selective. So they've got to try and keep their current fans, because it's very hard to make new fans with such a backlog of things. Or they need to split the phases, separate them so much that people can ignore the last phase and get onto the new one. But as I guess kind of removing Steve and Tony does that, but there's still a leftover of characters. Like if you kind of not wiped them, but you set up a new Avengers, a new scene, you could go, oh, don't worry about those. Give up on Thanos. We're on to Kang now. You don't have to watch those old movies. It's fine. We've got a new set of heroes. I think they could then get new fans, but it's hard because you're still kind of obligated to watch the old ones to know what's going on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like my opinion would be there's no structure. We know what the ultimate destination is, but there's no reason at the moment why people should stay with the shows, and with the movies haven't been as good. It's kind of a weird stage at the moment that I think they kind of need to it's confusing for the viewer at the moment. I think it's very expensive time that I think I can see why people have kind of finished off with the MCU. We had a beginning, middle, and now loyal people have kind of stayed, and will we even get a payoff? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we're due for another epic movie. I think we've had some, ones that haven't added too much. Like we had the Black Widow movie, decent movie, hasn't been major. We need something epic. I think Black Panther's going to be good, but whether it's going to add to the MCU or it's just going to be its own kind of thing, I'm not sure. But we lack those movies, where we're like, wow, this builds onto this. This is what's going to happen next. Loki's a show did that, but we need a movie to do it next.
Well, thank you for watching. We are the Obi-Thorn Alliance. If you enjoyed this video, there will be one at the end. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.